I've decided that I'm never going to pay back my student loans, and this is how I'm going to finesse them. I'm currently getting a doctoral degree, and I'll be milking those student loan refund checks throughout the process, while, of course, doing the work authentically. However, upon graduation in about 2.5 years, I'm going to continue to go to college for the rest of my life. This isn't a new secret. However, I'm going to pay out of pocket 2 classes a semester, 6 credits in a degree seeking program, at least 2 semesters a year. That'll be about $2,000 max, including books. And then I'll get a lifetime learner's credit of $1,000 on my tax return. So my net payment is only $1,000. And I will continue to get associate's degrees and just, keep learning.
Wow, this brings a whole new meaning to the phrase lifetime student. He's literally has it broken down to a T how he's going to pretty much finesse the system and take a few courses and pay out of pocket to actually having to avoid paying his student loans. Again, the same effort and energy he put into crafting this plan should have been put into thinking, man, whatever I have a bachelor's in, whatever I have a master's degree in, it's not really making no money. So why should I go back and take out more student loans for a doctorate degree when the master's and bachelor's hasn't helped me financially at all? It just doesn't make any sense.
Another reason why people don't want to pay their student loans. I'm going to use myself as an example. When I graduated with about $72,000 in student loans. Mind you, I got a master's, and when I finished my degree, I landed a job that paid me $40,000 because I studied to be a teacher. Now, when I first looked at my repayment plan, they wanted me to pay about $900 a month. Now, with a job of $40,000 and living on my own, because that was my option, you can imagine that I did not have enough money to pay for those loans. So,
Let's pause it right there. No, you did have enough money. Number one, it's well known that teachers are notoriously underpaid. So why would you take out an extensive amount of student loans to pursue a master's degree in teaching? $72,000 in student loans, you're only making $40,000 a year. And then to make matters worse, she chose to live on her own. That she could have lived out her car. I mean, it might not be the best thing, but hey, you have to make sacrifices. She could have potentially moved back home, or if she wanted to live at home, maybe she needed to rent a room and use the extra funds to pay towards her student loans. But people think that they're just going to act like these student loans don't exist and they're magically going to disappear, and it's just not going to happen. Understand, the government is going to get their money back one way or another.
so lo and behold, those things went on forbearance really, really quick because for the first like 5, 6 years of my career, I only made up until $60,000, which was never really enough to pay for the exorbitant amount of student loan payments that they were requiring me to pay. Fast forward, I eventually got married and had kids. And when you have kids, childcare costs is a real thing. So instead of being able to pay back my loans, I had to pay childcare. And in a country that always wants women to have children, I did my duty. And not because America wanted me to have kids, but because I wanted to have kids. So for those of you who are going to jump in my comments and say, so why you had kids if you wasn't paying for your student loans? Because realistically, America is a country that wants us to have kids. And if
Listen to herself. Excuse after excuse after excuse why it's not her fault that she cut back her student loans. First, she didn't want to live at home. First, we're supposed to be feel bad because we're supposed to play dumb, like she didn't know how much teachers made before she went to school. Now it's her kid's fault, and it's America's fault because she's being a patriot. So because she's being a patriot, it's she should be excused from paying her student loans. I mean, just look at the lack of accountability that we have here.
I waited up until I had enough money to pay for my student loans, I would have never had kids. So what the hell do you want? Kids or no kids, America? So about 9 years later, after I've graduated with my master's degree, with a whole family later, married, I still don't make enough to cover for my student loans. So my
Just a side note, fellas and ladies, before you get married, make sure you know your significant other's debts. I mean, 'cause I'm sure her husband probably had no clue, and now he's going to be on the hook for. I mean, this 72,000. It's probably ballooned to over six figures now. Make sure you know what you're getting into.
student loans have gone up from about 72,000 to 92,000. And the only times that I have been able to even pay on my loans was when I worked for a company that would pay $100 a month for me. And this is the gag of it all. I have been looking into all of my student loan stuff, seeing all the programs that I can apply for, and I qualify for the public service loan program, which essentially says if you've been working in public service, after 10 years of qualifying payments, they will forgive the rest of your loan. And I also qualify for the income-based payment plan. But this is the thing. This plan says that I could pay between $600 and $900 for the next 10 years. And when you calculate that, that adds up to $120,000 over 10 years. What the hell are they going to be forgiving after that? There ain't going to be no loans to forgive. So what I'm trying to understand is what the hell is going on with these programs, because the math ain't mathing and they don't seem really real and they don't seem like they really want to help us. And if y'all want to fight me in the comments about not being responsible and paying off my loans, realistically, I've never made enough money to pay off these loans. So instead of jumping down my throat about student loans, how about y'all begin fighting for teachers who have been educating the future students, workers, entrepreneurs for society, so that they could just do away with all of our loans without any qualifying payments. I said what I said.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is case study 101 on a lack of accountability. Throughout the whole video, she made nothing but excuses as to why she could not pay her student loans. And now she's in a situation where the loans have grown to almost six figures and she has no plan on paying them back.
She just got done crying because her credit score went from a 6 to a 4. Me. And then she saw, well, I knew how much my freaking financial aid was, or student loans was, 17,000. Cried a little bit about that too. What a day. Oh shit. What a day.
Again, so she knew she took out the student loans. She knew she owed about 17,000. She did not pay, and yet she's now surprised that her credit score dropped from the sixes to the fours. And if we're being honest, 17,000 is very manageable. I mean, she couldn't get a second job. I mean, she couldn't do DoorDash. She couldn't do Uber Eats. She couldn't do something. I mean, 17,000. I mean, the minimum payment couldn't be but $200-300 a month. You took out the loan, just only right that you pay it back. See, I mean, it's not even about the amount, as you can see. Some people owe, small amounts. Some people owe larger amounts, but it's the lack of accountability. They want to just act like they want to close their eyes and act like these things are just going to, disappear. Again, imagine if someone owed you 17,000, someone owed you 72,000. You'd be on their ass trying to get your money back. It's the same situation. You knew that you took out these student loans, and instead they're not even trying to attempt to pay something. Here's $50. Here's $100. They're just literally acting like it does not exist and just hoping it will just go away. And that's not grown folks' behavior.
Millions of people just saw their credit score drop because they haven't paid their student loans. Over 2 million people just saw their credit score drop by 100 points. An additional million people just saw their credit score drop by 150 points because they haven't paid their student loans. Boy, this government is not playing at all. And I know what some people might think, oh, that's good for them. That's what they get. They should just go ahead and pay it. But to literally tank your credit score is wild. I see some people just like, fuck it. Fuck the credit score, fuck the student loan. I don't know about that. I can't fuck up my credit score like that. Going from a 700 credit score to a 600 credit score because of your student loan sounds crazy. That is crazy as hell. You just went from being able to get a decent car loan to being approved at 20% interest rate. Some of these drops are as bad as bankruptcies. Boy, I'm so glad I paid my shit. That shit sounds scary as hell. But I see some people just like, man, I can't even pay it. I can't make an extra $200 payment per month. I just can't do it. So just know, if you ain't looked at them student loans, they ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere.
Absolutely facts. They are not going nowhere. So it's much better to develop a plan about how you're going to be able to attack these student loans than acting like they don't exist. Again, eventually you're going to want to have to buy a car. You're going to want to buy a home. You're going to need, the thing about credit is you need it when you least expect it. And it's always good to have a 700 plus credit score So if you find yourself in a bind, you could fall back on that. But now you're in a position where people have tanked their credit into the 400s and 500s. Now you're putting yourself into if you do need a loan, it's going to be a predatory loan, and now you're going to be even more debt. Again, instead of doing the due diligence and figuring out, especially like I said, let me reset. I mean, I guess I can feel some sympathy for younger people, maybe 17, 18, took out these loans and didn't understand. But you have people who are going for master's degrees, doctorate degrees, and they wasn't making no money with their previous degree. What on earth will possess you to go back for a higher degree in the same field if you can't make no money and the job is not willing to pay for it? That should be a telltale sign that something is wrong here. You know, I just don't get it. You would think someone going for a master's degree or a doctorate degree would have that level of common sense thinking, like, hey man, this I have a bachelor's, I have an associate's, I'm still struggling in life. Why would I go and take 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 and more loans for the same field and I'm already not making no money? I mean, again, just make it make sense.
Everybody is talking about the student loan stuff. I thought I was the only one that had just happened to. So let's talk about it because, even though this is a spiritual page, spiritual platform, we still got to talk about real life stuff. So I thought I was the only one that this had happened to. My credit score fell 250 points, y'all, 2 weeks ago because of my student loans.
250 points. Damn. So even if you had an 850, that would bring you up to a 600. That's if you had a perfect credit score.
My student loans made my credit score drop 250 points. And I know y'all are like, how is that possible? Let's get into it. So, as y'all know, I went to go get my master's. If you don't know, I went to go get my master's in social work. My program alone was $70K. And I know a lot.
Problem number one there, went to get a master's degree in social work and took out 70,000 for a social work degree. Social workers are notoriously low paid. I mean, maybe if you're in a hospital setting, you may be able to get some decent wages, but to take out $70,000 for a social work degree, a master's degree in social work, bad business already.
A lot of people are like, oh, you could have found something much cheaper. There wouldn't have been much cheaper. Honestly, the average program was anywhere from 50 to 80K, and I didn't have time to be driving and going to school in person. I did an online program because I knew that's what would work for me. So that's what I chose. That's what I.
And one big thing a lot of people are not talking about, a lot of people are not really qualified to really going back to school. So they're getting suckered in. They're going back to these for-profit institutions that are charging exorbitant amounts with tuition. That's something that a lot of people are not talking about too.
Anyway, long story short, as y'all know, the job market was horrible last year. So I've been over a year removed, but I had a shady first job. It took me forever to find another job. So I had to quit my job, my first social work job, back in September. I didn't get another job until November. Mind you, I did not get paid that whole summer, which is why I had to quit my other job, but I wasn't trying to quit without finding another job first. It took me forever to find a job, even with a master's. So that whole time, my student loans are accruing debt. And I had a little bit of student loans from undergrad, but not much. Now my student loans are $112,000. And get this kicker. My student loan payment is $1,100 every month. I would put it. If somebody knows how to help a sister out, I will make another video and prove it to y'all. But yes, and I had to do the forbearance form, so hopefully they'll take it. But when under the SAVE plan, I don't know if this current administration got rid of it. I should read up on that, but I think they did because on the FAFSA website, it says that the student loan SAVE plan is gone. Under the SAVE plan, I should have been paying $164 a month, which I can do, totally can do. I would definitely do that. But they're saying I need to.
Let's think about this. At $164 a month, she will never pay that loan off in her lifetime. Lord.
Pay $1,100 a month. I kid you not. I make lower than 60K a year. I make almost 60K. You know, and like I said, I don't like to put my business out there, but I like to be helpful and inform people. So if y'all want to know if that stuff actually happened to people, that did. My credit score dropped 250 points. So how am I going to be able to financially set I don't even know how do you fix a credit score fall that low. Especially when I had plans for what to do with my money, because I was already building my credit. And then out of nowhere, boom, I woke up. Credit score fell 250 points. If y'all want to know that was true, that was true.
Whoo, yeah, she is up shit's creek without a paddle. Again, the first problem was when she decided to go back for a master's degree and spend $70,000. And she mentioned she already had very low student loan debt. She would have been better off trying to find a job with her bachelor's degree in social work and then seeing if the institution that she worked for would help pay for it, help sponsor it. Number two, um, the fact that she went back to get a master's degree and barely is making $60,000. If you're going to go back for any type of advanced degree, master's, doctorate, and you're only going to make 60 grand, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, you got people at Costco making $30 an hour. So why would you take out $70,000 in student loans to make 60 grand? It just doesn't make sense from a business perspective. You have to understand this is a business. I mean, I understand education is great, but people put themselves in a predicament where they're actually worse off becoming more educated. But let me know what you think in the comments below. These student loans are not going nowhere. They will garnish your wages. They will garnish your social security check. So it's best off to figure out a plan. Let me know your plan in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.